With it being the start of Gamescom this week, Xbox have now decided to treat us with a pretty juicy sale, and there are a ton of games for us to get our hands on. Every single game in today's sales video is now at their lowest price that we've ever seen, and I've triple checked to ensure you're getting the best bang for your buck. Before we do dive in though, remember I do give away a free Xbox game as part of these sales videos every single week. All you have to do is comment below and I will pick a lucky subscriber in next week's video. Congratulations to last week's winner, just hit me up on our awesome Discord server and I will get that game right over to you. With that, let's dive right into these incredible deals you can take advantage of for this week. Pandora has never looked so good in a game before, and that's why Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora was so widely praised upon its launch. This one drops you into James Cameron's breathtaking world where every jungle, mountain and hidden village feels immersive. You'll be able to take to the skies on your Banshee, stalk RDA patrols with your bow, and then adapt to the environment as the Navi. What I absolutely adore though with this entry is just how exploration feels just as thrilling as its combat. Flora does react to your presence, wildlife does feel pretty natural, and traversal is so smooth and exciting. If you've ever wanted to live in Pandora, this is the closest that you'll ever get. It's now just £17.50, and with the new third-person update coming very soon, it's the best time to grab this absolute gem. The Phantom Thieves came back, but this time they swapped dungeon crawling for tactical battles, and somehow it works so bloody well. Persona 5 Tactica blends stylish Persona flair with grid-based strategy, where positioning really is everything. The triple threat mechanic encourages creative setups, really letting you juggle enemies and dominate the overall field. Despite the genre shift though, it still oozes that same Persona identity, so slick menus, punchy dialogue, and of course an outstanding soundtrack. There's even a brand new narrative arc, so it's more than just a spin-off game. If you're into strategy or simply miss hanging out with Joker and the crew, then this one is a total win. At £16.50 is a great way to dive back into the world of Persona, or maybe even try this universe for the very first time. For fans of over-the-top action, Space Marine 2 is pure adrenaline, and it was easily my game of the year for 2024. You of course play as Lieutenant Titus, a hulking Space Marine who slices through swarms of Tyranids with his bolters, chainswords, and also devastating melee finishes. The scale here is utterly jaw-dropping, as there's hundreds of enemies on screen at one time, and then each encounter feeling like a massive war scene pulled straight from the Warhammer 40k universe. What I love so much about this one though is how much of a complete package you get out the gate, as you get a phenomenal campaign, some insane operations, and also some lovely PvP which is currently slept on. The game is currently discounted to £32.99, and that's nearly half price, and if you're looking for a proper 360 era action game with lots of visceral combat, then this one is an easy buy. Part Souls-like, part shooter, Remnant from the Ashes does offer one of the most unique co-op experiences around, and I love it so blimmin' much. The world here is procedurally generated, meaning every playthrough feels very different, from new layouts, enemies, and even bosses. Combat is fairly tactical, with heavy hitting weapons balanced by precise dodging, and it does force you to think on your feet. What really makes this game shine though is its co-op. Fighting alongside your friends against towering monstrosities feels so incredible. Even solo, the atmosphere is incredibly intense and also very rewarding, with progression always dandling that sort of next upgrade or even weapon at you. At £6.69, it's a huge 80% off, and it's one of the best values in this week's sale. Whether you're into tough but fair challenges, or simply want an endlessly replayable shooter, this one is a must buy. At just £10.50 and 70% off, this is easily one of the best Sonic deals we've seen in quite some while. Sonic Colors Ultimate takes one of the most beloved Sonic entries and cranks it up with better visuals, smoother performance, and vibrant remastered stages. You will be blasting through rollercoaster-like levels whilst harnessing the power of the wisps, from turning into a laser to drilling underground, and it adds so much variety and creativity to Sonic's lightning-fast gameplay. Levels though are designed with multiple different routes and also secrets, making replaying them such a blast. Personally, the soundtrack here is utterly outstanding. It's energetic, catchy, and just pure Sonic charm. If you are craving something that's fast-paced with its platforming, but including a modern twist, then Sonic Colors Ultimate is a pretty great experience. Diving back into the icy depths of Planet 4546b, Subnautica Below Zero really did deliver a survival experience that's both chilling and breathtaking, and personally I still think it's underrated compared to the original Subnautica. You'll be able to scavenge for resources, build your own base, and craft tech while unraveling a mysterious story, and it's all about alien experiments and your missing sister. The underwater biomes here are stunning, but of course very dangerous, and they're filled with creatures both awe-inspiring and incredibly terrifying. I still love how this game does keep you on edge. One moment you'll be mesmerized by these glowing coral caverns, but the next you will be stalked by something massive in the dark. This is an absolute must if you're into survival adventures or just atmospheric exploration, and at £7.50 is a blimmin' bargain. This one went under the radar quite massively late last year, but I know many who did play it absolutely fell in love with it. Nobody Wants to Die is a detective noir thriller that's set in a grim cyberpunk New York, and it's where death isn't permanent thanks to body swapping technology. In this one, you play as a detective called James Kara, and you're tasked with solving a brutal murder tied to corruption and immortality. What really sets this game apart though from others within that sort of investigation space is that system itself. You'll be scanning clues, piecing together scenes, and also unraveling a layered narrative. The tone does feel quite heavy, yet incredibly stylish, with rain-soaked streets and neon-lit cityscapes painting the entire mood. Normally, it's a premium title, but it's down by 60% off, making it such a great time to grab a relatively new story-driven gem at a bargain price point. This modern sequel to a cult classic, Beneath a Steel Sky, combines clever puzzles with a thought-provoking sci-fi narrative. In this one, you play as Robert Foster, returning to Union City, a high-tech utopia with a very dark underbelly. The game though does blend classic point-and-click adventure mechanics with modern visuals and interactive environments. I haven't had a chance to play this one yet, but upon doing some research and looking at some reviews, there's an incredibly good hacking system at the front of it all. You can essentially manipulate the city systems to solve puzzles and also expose the corruption, and it makes you feel like a true digital detective. If you do enjoy narrative-driven experiences, then you need to keep this one on your radar, as it seems to be such a hidden gem. The best part though, it's just £2.50 with an incredible 85% off, and at that pocket change price point, you might as well dive into it. Now, Chorus is a space combat game with fast, fluid dogfights, and it does remind me of the best sci-fi movies. You play as Nara, a former cult enforcer with a very haunted past, and you'll be flying a sentient starfighter called Forsaken. The mix of supernatural powers with high-speed combat is totally exhilarating. You're not just firing lasers like you expect in other games, you'll be warping across battlefields, pulling off some quite impossible maneuvers, and obliterating tons of fleets. The story is actually quite surprisingly emotional as well, dealing with themes like guilt and redemption against a backdrop of galaxy-spanning war. At just £3.37, this one really is an underrated gem, and it's absolutely worth adding to your library if you want some intense action in space. I do recommend this week that you step into 1860s Japan with Like a Dragon Ishin. It's a spin-off that does reimagine Yakuza's iconic characters, but now in a samurai era setting. You basically play as Ryoma Sakamoto, and you are caught in political turmoil, navigating loyalty, betrayal, and revolution. What makes this game so special though is the combat. You can actually switch between 4 fighting styles, from classic swordplay to flashy gun combos, and even a wild mix of both. The side activities are equally addictive, as you come to expect with any Yakuza game these days, so you can expect farming, karaoke, and then quirky sub-stories offering a break from all the drama. Normally this one is a pretty pricey title, and it never goes down too much in price. However, it's now down to £15 for the digital deluxe edition, and yes, this is the lowest price yet. If you love Yakuza or just want a samurai epic with tons of depth, then this is a great deal for this week. For just £2.24, Star Trek Prodigy Supernova is one of the craziest discounts you'll see this week, and it's down a massive 95%. This is a perfect time to pick it up as well, as the game is currently being delisted at the end of September, so you will no longer be able to play it unless you own a physical copy. Believe it or not though, this is based on the animated series, and I won't lie, I never even knew one existed. The action adventure though does take you across command of the Protostar crew as they race to save their friends and stop a cosmic catastrophe. It looks very colourful, it's obviously very family friendly, and offers co-op play, so you can explore strange worlds with a buddy or even your brothers or sisters on the couch. While it is aimed at a younger audience for sure, I think there's something charming here for any Star Trek fan, especially any that love the idea of unraveling mysteries. At this price, it's practically giving the game away, and definitely worth grabbing for your collection before it's gone forever. Akimbot is a fresh indie action platformer that really gives off some sort of old school Saturday morning cartoon vibes, but with a cool sci-fi twist. You play as X, a rogue robot that's blasting his way across a galaxy full of chaos alongside his sarcastic sidekick called Shipsets. The gunplay is quite fast paced here, the levels are very colourful and varied, and the humour does keep things pretty light throughout your playthrough. What stood out for me though is just how it blends classic 3D platforming with modern polish. It does feel both nostalgic in one area, but new at the very same time, and I did quite enjoy my time with it. Normally this game is full price, and unfortunately I did pay that at the time, but it's now just £6.39, and that really is a fantastic price point for such a vibrant, energy-filled game, and it doesn't take itself too seriously either, so it's a pretty fun time. If you enjoy dark fairy tales but with a roguelike twist, then Ravenswatch is going to scratch that itch entirely. From the creators of Curse of the Dead Gods, which is another great indie gem, this co-op action roguelike brings together legendary characters from folklore, so think things like Little Red Riding Hood or Beowulf, and then throws them into a nightmarish realm. You'll be hacking, slashing, and upgrading through runs that constantly evolve, with each of your heroes offering drastically different playstyles. The Legendary Edition is the one I'm highlighting today, as it's now down to just £14, and it does bundle in some quite nice extra content for a fuller experience. Honestly, for me, the art direction here feels equal parts eerie and enchanting, and it's utterly beautiful, and it does make every run feel like stepping into a twisted storybook that really is trying to kill you. One of the biggest JRPGs of the past decade, Persona 3 Reload is a full reimagining of the classic game that really did put this series on the map. It balances dungeon crawling in Tartarus with slice-of-life story moments where you will build bonds and relationships that carry over into combat. The Digital Premium Edition is the one that I'm highlighting today in particular, and it includes loads of extras like the soundtrack, art, and all the DLC packs. Usually it's quite a hefty price tag, but this edition is now $38.24 with 55% off, and even though that's not the smallest price ever, it's a great deal considering how much content is packed into this experience. It only recently left Xbox Game Pass as well, so now's the perfect time to grab it, especially if you need to complete it. This next little indie gem really blew me away when I saw it discounted for this week. Windbound is just £1.59 at 90% off, and for even less than half the price of a coffee, that is a bloody insane deal. This one is a survival adventure game that mixes exploration, crafting, and sailing across a mysterious archipelago. Think of it like a blend between Breath of the Wild and Wind Waker, as you'll be crafting your own boats, hunting for resources, and uncovering secrets scattered across the islands. The art style is pretty gorgeous as well, with painterly skies and rolling seas, and it kind of makes every voyage feel like a painting in motion. While it's not the biggest game on this list today, the sense of freedom and discovery is so bloody special, and for less than the price of coffee is an absolute no-brainer. I have mentioned Gods Will Fall here on the channel quite a while ago now, but it's finally going on sale once again this week. It is a brutal but very rewarding action game where you can lead a band of warriors against towering gods that have enslaved humanity. The catch though, once a warrior does fall in battle, they're gone, unless you do avenge them though, adding real stakes to every fight. I really did enjoy my time with this one, as every dungeon does feel different, almost like each god has their own twisted realm and style of combat. It is quite tough to say the least, but when you finally topple one of these titans, the rush really is unreal. The Valiant Edition, which is currently £2.39, does include some extra warriors, weapons, and also bonus content. It's a small price for a game with such satisfying highs, and you will easily get hooked in this one. This one is a personal favourite of mine. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is easily one of the most surprising single-player games that I've played in recent years. Of course, you do step into the boots of Star-Lord, leading the Guardians through a story that really is funny, heartfelt, and packed with tons of action. What really blew me away though is just how well the team banter truly does flow, and it feels like travelling with a dysfunctional family that you can't really help but love. The combat does keep you engaged as well, with team abilities that add flair to every fight, and even though you can't control every single Guardian, it's still quite nice to have those team abilities at your disposal. I do have to say as well, that soundtrack is just pure 80s gold. It is nothing like the dumpster fire that was Marvel's Avengers, and it's totally slept on due to many thinking it's a similar game. At just £9, this is an absolute steal for a game that delivers Marvel level storytelling without the need for multiplayer live service slop. So what game are you going to pick up in this week's sale? You'll have to let me know down below. Remember to smash that like button if you enjoyed, and if you get over 1,000 likes, I will be giving a couple of games away in next week's video. Remember to also subscribe as well, as it does help the channel out, and whilst you're here and want to keep up to date with other Xbox content, why don't you check out the video on screen now, as I did cover the 13 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games coming out this week to see if any of them are worth your time and money.